Welcome to Headwreckas presents King TV, produced by the homies at CLE. This is a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. It's just a show now that we're gonna try to give you 100% realness all of the time, and let you get another feel for another opinion, and try to bring people together in the name of love. Yes, sir.
You can't believe everything you see on the TV.
Welcome to Headwreckas presents King TV with your host D Willa. Like I said, this is a show where we're going to try to keep it real 100% of the time and bring people together in the name of love. I don't think we did a show last week, so I wanted to go back and talk about a few things that happened last week and also about stuff that happened just recently. First, I want to talk about my experience on a Southwest flight from Detroit to Houston. I had some business to take care of in Detroit. Holler at my homie Robert Douglas out there. But on my way back home, I had a very, very crazy experience that involved a couple of Middle Eastern men. I'm not sure if they were Muslim or not, but I know they were of Middle Eastern descent, and the Southwest crew and the people around me. What had happened was we had a flying from Detroit to Houston. It isn't a direct flight, so we had to switch planes at Chicago. So just to tell you the story, we're getting on the plane to come home in Detroit to fly to Chicago first, and we've got these guys speaking Arabic very loudly, hollering at each other in the front of the line. So, this was maybe a few days, a week after everything that happened in Paris. And so everybody was a little uptight. And I can understand that because I, too, when these guys are arguing at the front of the line to each other, I had to raise an eyebrow, make contact. But, my critical thinking skills the reality set in that if these guys are trying to do something crazy, they're not going to make a scene before they get on the bus, right? Before they get on the plane. So these guys get on the plane. Everybody's sort of looking a little fishy, looking at them. And one of the guys has this big suitcase, and he's trying to put it in. He's trying to put it in the thing. And the stewardess comes up. The flight attendant. I'm sorry. The flight attendant comes up and says, can I help you? He's like, well, I got this drum. He pulls it out, shows the drum, sort of pulls it out, shows the drum. He's like, I can't fit it in here. It's fragile. Can I put it somewhere? So me being the nice guy, I decided he could put this big thing by me, so we can get on with the flight. And it won't be a big deal. And, in the back of my mind, I'm not going to lie to you. I thought about it for a second because I don't know who these guys are. They're arguing. We saw what happened just in Paris. We saw what happened with the Russian flight from Africa, I believe. And so I thought to myself, I'm going to be the good guy here. And, fuck it. If this is a bomb, I'd rather just go on and get blown up right off the bat than having to fall out the sky and, panic and all that. So, I decided to just take that charge. And the guy was very gracious about it. And, in fact, he sat in the seat over the aisle over, and he was talking to me, and he told me, they were in a band and, they were coming to Houston. They were, very excited to go to Houston, be able to play in something. I think it was a festival or something they were playing in. And, he was very, very cool guy. So I calmed down. I really wasn't that scared, you know what I'm saying? But, I was soothed. Everybody was around me soothed. The attendant was, everybody was cool. But he had one guy that was sort of like, I guess he was the leader of the group. And he's talking very, rash to these guys. And I think it's just because he was the bossy guy. There's always a group there's always a bossy guy in the group. So he was like talking rash to these guys. They were talking in Arabic, so I don't know what they were saying. But he asked me, he said, we're all trying to sit together. How do we do that? And I told him, I think if you pay a little extra money, you can get on that, on the A list. Southwest, you don't have assigned seats. You just come in, you got the A, B, C. So I was like, I think if you pay a little extra money, you can. So we arrive in Chicago. Nothing happens. Everything's cool. But when it's time to get back on the plane, the guy, he's in the A. He paid the extra money, but I don't think he understood. So he paid the money. So he paid extra money so he can get on, and he tried to save seats. And if you know, in Southwest, they're not really having that. And he sort of made a deal about it. So he was tried to save seats. Some very attractive lady tried to get on by him, and he wouldn't let her have it. And I was just questioning that. Why would I was like, man, he didn't let her on in the seat. That was sort of crazy. But he didn't let her seat. He wanted his friends to sit with him, and he didn't understand what was going on. So they asked him like once or twice. He was like, no, I paid. They weren't having it. After two, you're out of here. Bam, get off the plane. So he walks off the plane, comes back, and tells his boys, let's get off the plane, because they were all together. When this happens, people start clapping. And I'm looking around like, what the hell is going on? Why are people clapping? Because they are so scared and just out of their mind. I mean, I could sort of understand it, but I don't understand why you're clapping. So these guys are clapping. So they get off. The guy next to me, he's telling me, man, I'm so glad you sat by me. I didn't want those guys to sit by me. I'm like, okay, and they get off. The pilot comes on and he tells everybody, which makes it way worse. He looks up and he tells everybody to check the compartment, overhead compartment, and make sure everything in there is yours. Make sure you don't see anything that's out of place. So people are looking around, sort of panicky, like, jumping around. People get off the plane and leave. They were so scared that these Middle Eastern guys, we don't know if they were Muslim. They weren't dressed in anything that would call them out as Muslim. It was just their skin tone and their language. These guys had on the average skinny soccer pants and the shirts with some gold chains. These guys weren't even about any of that stuff. But people were clapping, making not racist. Muslim isn't racist, but just anti-Muslim comments. And, they brought the bomb dogs out. And this was all because a guy wanted to save his seat. And I felt very, that was a hard thing to watch for me. And it was like, I wanted to say something, and I did. I actually wrote up a little thing and sent it to Southwest because they just took that thing out of proportion. They had people scared, and they were talking about, well, at the times, and I could I'm a human being and I understand that what had just happened. And maybe this guy needs to have some self-awareness a little bit to understand that you might not want to be screaming, in Arabic before you get on the plane. Maybe that he needs a little self-awareness and do that. But for the people to be clapping and to be so scared of these guys, it's just ridiculous to me. And we need to, I don't know how it's going to happen, but we need to be not so scary of a nation. We got this guy, Donald Trump, telling us the other day, or he's been lying all week about how Obama's trying to bring 200,000 refugees in from Syria, right? Even though it's only 10,000. And he's saying how scary it's going to be. Everybody's pushing this scare tactic. When the last time anything happened to people because of their religion, it was, I think, the white guy, I don't even know what color he was, but the guy that went into the Sheik temple thinking they were Muslim and killing them, right? And people killing Christians, Americans killing Christians up there in the Northwest. So when you think about it, here, the real threat is not the Muslims. It's us. It's our own people. We just recently had, Friday, had another shooting at a Planned Parenthood clinic, anti-abortion guy, crazy guy. Like most people that are killing people and killing themselves, they're all crazy, I think. He killed 2 people and shot a police officer, Swayze, RP to him. We say a lot of stuff about the police. We will get into the police section again, but, police are here to protect and serve, the good ones. is an honorable job, and they need our love and support. And RIP to a guy that was out there trying to protect civilians. I think his name was Officer Swayze. Garrett Swayze, I think is how you pronounce it. If not, I apologize, but RIP to him. And this was another terrorist act from an American. This is what's going to happen. And just like with this Planned Parenthood, everybody's on this rant about Planned Parenthood and how bad it is, and they're bombing. It's the same thing that's going to happen with the Muslim community here in America. We got people walking around with guns. The next thing that's going to happen is there are people, that we're pushing this hate and this and being scared so much that the next thing that's going to happen is somebody's going to go in there and shoot up a mosque. And I'm pretty sure it's coming soon. And not because they did anything, just because they're scared, because people are scared. And that's what this guy, the scare tactics, the fear, the rhetoric that they put out about Planned Parenthood, which, I am a Christian, so abortion isn't, I'm anti-abortion. But I understand we live in America. If that's your thing, if that's what you want to do, I'm not going to really judge you on that. I'm not going to judge you at all. I'm not the judge. So, it is what it is. I don't think people should die because they're giving something that is illegal in America. You know what I'm saying? Giving out abortions or whatever. It's just, I don't know if this clinic even did abortions, but that's probably what they thought it was. And with all this, fear mongering, and it just probably drove this crazy guy that was already crazy to do what he did. And not just to hit the right on that, because this is mostly a right thing, but once this happened, the first thing Obama said was something about controlling guns. And it's like, everything that's a tragedy happens we've got to control the guns. No, we need to control the people. We need to control the media. We need to control, how we're talking about stuff and programming it into people's minds. Like I said, Americans don't read. They're only watching TV, and they believe half the stuff they hear. We just, back on Trump, he's saying that he's 100% sure that on 9/11, Muslims were having tailgate parties and after parties after 9/11 in New Jersey City. When people call him out on it, he doesn't care. He's still going to put it out there. So there is a group of people, mostly probably all of his supporters, that believe that there was a group of thousands, hundreds, thousands, however he says it, of Muslims that after 9/11 were watching it and celebrating right across the water. You know what I'm saying? And that's ridiculous. And stuff like that is going to make stupid shit happen. And we just need to calm all that down. I hope that Southwest shows those guys some love because they deserve it. I've seen people get, a little bit more irate than this guy was. It wasn't even, like I said, it wasn't even a minute before they kicked this guy off. I think that was sort of insensitive and crazy. And to the people that were clapping, y'all ought to be ashamed of yourselves. And, this old white guy that was by me and his wife, they were real cool people, but the stuff they were saying was making me, take a big gulp like, oh, man, what are y'all talking about? But they were talking to me, a young black guy, so maybe there is a little progress there. And they weren't scared of me. They were scared of these other guys, which, I'm sort of upset about that because, I hold myself as a nice, big, swole guy that can beat anybody up. These Middle Eastern guys are pretty small guys, so, but it is what it is. That's it for this one. We'll be right back with Headwreckas presents KingTV.
Everything you see on the TV. You can't believe everything you read in a magazine.